So I am at the northern trailhead of the American Tobacco Trail. I'm about to hop on the trail on my bike here in just a little bit. I was back here in late January. I had gotten a GoPro for Christmas, and I was gonna bike from the northern trailhead down to Herndon Park as the first part in a series of kind of guides of the American Tobacco Trail, and recorded actually all three sections, and began editing all three sections. And I realized this first section I did way back then, it was just very windy that day, and it was hard to hear what I was saying while I was biking. So I just decided I was going to come back some other day and redo it, which is going to be today. I went ahead and finished editing the second and third sections. Those are pretty much done. But I decided I would wait until I had this first section re-recorded, redone, and edited, and I'll upload all three sections to YouTube once this one's done. So anyway, I'm gonna turn this camera around here and kind of give you a little guidance on parking in Durham if you're actually going to start biking over here, and hopefully a few tidbits that'll be beneficial. All right, here goes. So actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn back up. This is looking up Moorhead Street, and you'll see cars parked along the right side of Moorhead Street, which is one option for parking. There's a gravel lot right here under 147 that I think the only times it's open is when there's activities over at the Durham Ballpark, which I'll show you in a minute, the Durham Bulls ballpark. Or the Miracle League part, which is right here behind me. So you probably won't have any options for parking here, but I could be wrong. But you can see the gates closed now, and there's gates closed on the far side as well. There are spaces, we'll walk along here in a minute, on Blackwell Street. You can park kind of where that bus is. And we're walking now towards the beginnings of the trail, which is technically over here, I guess, where it actually turns to asphalt. And like I say, we're at the Durham Bulls Miracle League Park. There's also, walk over here a little bit, there's parking all along Blackwell here along the right side. I think these are all paid parking spaces, but there are options, and you see a lot of folks parking there, biking and running and whatnot. There are also spaces up Moorhead as you're heading to 147 that you can park in. So you've got parking basically along Blackwell and Moorhead. I'm going to pause this for a minute as we cross over. So now we're walking along Blackwell underneath 147. There's spaces all along here. There are also paid parking. And actually I'm going to cut across here just for a bit. Straight ahead here is the American Tobacco District. There's a lot of restaurants within the Tobacco District. There's also some looking back over this way towards Blackwell. So lots of options for food and coffee and adult beverages. And then the Durham Bulls Athletic Park is over here. I'm not sure how well that's showing up. And then there's also a parking deck over here. That's an option. So you've got plenty of parking options if you're starting over here. Like I say, probably the one place you won't be able to park is this gravel lot that I'm standing in at the moment. And that's kind of looking back towards the trail and the Miracle Lake Park. Alrighty. About to hit the trail on mile marker 0. Coming up to Enterprise Street. Usually a fairly safe place to cross. I'll mention this on the other side in a bit more detail. But you probably may have noticed they've added crosswalk signals at this road crossing and several more along the stretch that we're doing today. These weren't here last time I did this trip back in January. Nice addition. I'm glad they finally have done it. Anyway. Pretty much from here down to Fayetteville Street. It's downhill, which is nice. Nice way to start this stretch. You guys can go ahead. All right, thank you. On your left. On your left. this street. Another crosswalk where they've added new signals. Some seem to be installed but not operational. And then there are some that seem to be operational. Just around this bend up here is Fayetteville Street, which is a very busy road. There are functional crosswalk signals here, and most of the time I use those just because you have to. There's just so much traffic. That probably will be the case today. On your left. Sometimes you can get across without getting with the signal, but I think I got lucky today. I think someone just pressed it, so I'm going to be able to get across here without having to even stop. I love it when that happens. Just after the bridge here, you got about I think it's about a 3/4 or a mile or so climb up to Little Road. Your left. Before we actually get to Little Road, we'll cross over Hillside High School, one of the Hillside High School entrances. It's pretty much all uphill to both of those roads. Kind of levels off for a while. Someone's having an enjoyable afternoon. Just the house that I'm thinking of, the guy who lives there. You may have been able to see it in the recording, but he made a really nice garden in his backyard. He spent most of last year working on it. He has a German Shepherd, pretty friendly German Shepherd, that would always come up to the fence, say hello, when they were out working. maybe he's actually doing some more work out there now. I couldn't really tell where he was, but I think that's where the music was coming from. The other thing I was going to mention, I meant to mention it when I first got started today, but I initially recorded all the segments of the tobacco trail with the GoPro mounted on my helmet. And you'll see parts 2 and 3, that's where it's mounted. But I decided when I came back today to do this stretch, I've actually got it mounted on the handlebar for a little bit different perspective. And did a little test this morning with it. And the only negative I saw was that it, even though the camera has pretty good image stabilization, you'll probably notice when I hit bumps more so than you would when I had it mounted on my helmet. So that was Hillside Drive, or Hillside High School entrance we just crossed, and now we're heading up to Riddle Road. Riddle Road's pretty busy. It does have a traffic signal, a functional traffic signal. And then the next road we get to, Big Cornwallis, which is also pretty busy. Not too bad today, at least Riddle wasn't too busy. Coming up to Cornwallis. Possible, so it's a little functional. Nobody's coming today, so I'm gonna go. Nice little flat stretch through here over to Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, which is directly in front of us, and Fayetteville Road is to our right. I meant to mention this earlier too. So we crossed Fayetteville Street at right around the 2-mile mark. At some point, Fayetteville Street turns into Fayetteville Road. I'm not sure where exactly. And the trail kind of parallels Fayetteville Road for quite a good stretch. I'd say at least 4 or so miles, maybe. And actually, just a little ways, we're going to cross over it. And we'll be on our left for a good while. then when we get down to around the Southpoint crossing area, we'll split away from it until we get to about the 9.5 mile mark, and we'll actually go under it then. And it keeps on going east until it connects with 751. So Martin Luther King Jr. and Fayetteville, the intersection there, obviously is a busy one. But as busy as it is, I guess just because of the nature of the intersection with the crosswalk signals and whatnot, I rarely, if ever, have had any issues there. Sometimes you might have seen that car turning right as me and the other cyclists were about to head out. Sometimes you'll see folks that'll turn right on red when they're not supposed to. But that's probably the worst thing you'll ever see, and that doesn't happen that often. Crossing over United Drive now, which also has some crosswalk signals. Then we head up here to the intersection of Barbie Road and Fayetteville Road. Barbie's up here to the left where that bus is. Actually, we'll cross over Bell Green right here first. To our right here, Southpoint Park. I'm going to pull in here and take a break. Show you what it's all about. It's a relatively small park. Normally you could just go down the entrance there if you're coming this way. But I actually want to show you the entrance. It's actually off the trail. If you were coming north towards Durham, this is probably where you want to turn off. There's a little bike repair station here. I don't think it gets used that much, and I'm not sure if it actually even works now, but it's there. I wouldn't rely on it very much though. We're going to turn right here, and have a little hairpin turn. A bumpy ride down here. We're going to cut through the parking lot, which is normally probably the easiest route through here because there's always kids running around on all the different paths. So I usually kind of like to kind of come through here and navigate and scan things a little bit first. probably saw the playground. It's just to my left here. And you'll see the bathrooms here in just a moment. And you'll probably, if you didn't see it already, you'll see there's a picnic shelter as well. And there's water here at the bathrooms. So I'm hoping the camera is picking up the shelter. I'm going to kind of turn that way just a wee bit before I head back this way. The bathrooms are to my right. I'm going to come over here to this light pole and take a break. I'm going to change out my battery here. Alrighty, so I'm going to get started again, back on the trail. Like I say, we're at Southpoint Park. And just to make sure everybody sees kind of the gist of the park, I'm not sure if you caught it all when I was coming in. So I'm going to try to turn the camera around. So hopefully that's catching the picnic area there. And then if we turn more towards the left, you can see the playground. And if we turn even more left, you can see the bathrooms and the water fountain. And I'll mention this as I'm heading out, because I got somebody behind me here. I'm going to head back out the way I came in, and there's a reason I usually do this. Assuming there's not much kid traffic on the path. Alright, so the reason is, mainly if you come around this way in front of me and you have to turn a really sharp, kind of hairpin turn, sharp right, it's hard to do on a bike. So I usually just opt to come around a circle and kind of come up here in kind of a more direct route. Apologize for the bumps again. Alrighty, back on the trail. Coming up to Pearson Drive. And I know it sounds like a broken record, but it's another road they've added crosswalk signals. Most of these residential roads aren't that busy. I mean, I rarely, if ever, have to stop at them anyway, but I don't know. I think it's nice that they're actually investing in this resource we have and making it safe for everybody, because up and down the trail, especially on the southern end, there's a lot of neighborhoods popping up, and there's just going to be that much more activity on the trail, which is a good thing, in my opinion. And because of that, I think you have to make every single crosswalk as safe as it can be. Coming up on Juliet Road. This is a fairly busy road here. And unfortunately, folks here usually aren't quite as courteous as they should be. You'll probably notice that when I get here. Again, they put crosswalk signals there. Like I was saying before Siri interrupted me. Despite the fact that there's they're investing money into making the trail safe for everybody. It's a really nice resource to have. I mean, I'm out here all the time on my bike. And back when I was a runner, one of my favorite places to come run. I've gotten too old for that now. Cook Road, I believe. About to come up on Woodcraft Parkway. Fairly busy. Looks pretty good here. And I want to say this, like Woodcraft begins kind of a stretch of let me actually get through this intersection first and I'll finish my comment. Back there at Woodcraft on the left, you might have been able to see it as it was coming up to the intersection. There's a Circle K, which is a great place to stop for refreshments and whatnot. And then pretty much all along here, as we come around this bend here to the left, little strip malls, shops. I think there's a good coffee shop through here. I've never actually been to it. Never really had a need. On your left, but I think it's pretty popular in this area. Have a nice little downhill stretch here. But like I was saying, there's pretty much all the way until we get to Southpoint Mall. There are places to stop, get food and drinks, and coffee, and whatnot. Circle K was the first one. Next crossing here is Gun Hill. And then just beyond Dunhill, the trail bears right. And that's kind of where it breaks away from Fayetteville, which is over to our left here. Beyond where that person is, that's where I'm going to turn right. And just beyond that on the left is a parking area too that you can always start from. I'm going to bear right here. And then we're crossing over, I think this is Southpoint Crossing Drive. Leads into this neighborhood, and then we'll cross it again over here on the other side. And just up here on the left, I'm not going to take this route today, it's kind of my alternate route through here. Just to the left right here, you can go up through that back side of the shopping center to get to the other side that we're going to end up at here in a minute. I'll stay on the trail today just so you can kind of see what it's like through here. The only reason I do that, I don't really think it's necessarily any faster. It might actually be even slower, to be honest about it. But the one thing is that right up here, just a few minutes, there's a little sharp turn, and there's this fence is on our right, and then there's shrubbery or trees on our left. So if someone's not behaving themselves coming through here, you could have a pretty serious accident. So as the sign says, slow down, pay attention. But again, most of the time when I'm coming through here, I just take the alternate route. A lot more space to navigate. It'll come out, it's kind of to our left right here. That's where you'd come out. You basically would just come right out here where I'm about to turn right. So we're crossing back over Southpoint Crossing Drive. Kind of right along Highway 54 here for this little short stretch towards the stoplight, and then we turn left and cross over again. I meant to mention this back there in the shopping center where the alternate route is. There's a Harris Teeter, a City Barbecue, and other places to stop for whatever you need. And then on the other side here is, I'm not sure what the name of the strip mall is, but there's a few places in here to get food and groceries and whatnot. about to head towards the I-40 bridge. To our left is Southpoint Mall. Have a nice little downhill stretch here going by it. And just down here on the left a little ways is another access point to the trail. You can actually park at the mall out here, get on the trail. Right here to our left. Now we're coming up to Renaissance Parkway, and to our left we'll be heading back towards the mall. And there's various places out here too obviously the mall has places to eat. There's other places you can get refreshments and food all along through here. To our right there's other little shopping centers, there's a Target. Just lots of options if you need to stop somewhere. On your left here. And the trail bears right down here. Now we're coming up to Massey Chapel Road. We're going to bear right up here and kind of parallel it for a short stretch, then we cross over it. And then it's pretty much once again uphill up to Herndon, which is destination today. There's one little dip after we go into Fayetteville Rd, and then it's back up again. I'm just going to slow down here and let the father-daughter get across the road. your left. Hello. I'm actually starting back there at Renaissance, pretty much all the way down to the end of the trail in New Hill, but especially down like to the New Hope area. On your left, I just really enjoy biking this part of the trail. It's just really pretty. The residential neighborhood's pretty much on either side, all through here. But the nice thing about it is that they're kind of offset far enough away from the trail where you don't really notice them. On your left, and when it's early April now, everything's starting to bloom. It makes it even more difficult to see the houses, so kind of gives it even more of a, I don't know, not so much remote. That's the best word I can come up with now. I guess peaceful is another way of saying it. I guess you also don't hear quite as much of the hubbub of road noise and other such distractions. Most of what you hear through the stretch is just the wildlife. If I'm quiet for long enough, you should be able to hear some birds chirping and maybe some dogs barking here and there. We're about to go under Fayetteville Rd. Like I say, we have a little dip here. Then it's uphill again until we get to Herndon. As you'd expect, as often as I'm out here biking, you see some of the same characters. The gentleman who just passed on the left side with a hat on is always out walking. Almost every time that I'm coming out, it doesn't matter what time of year, what the weather's like, he's usually out here walking. You see some of the same runners, some of the same cyclists.
I'm not sure what's going on at Herndon today. It's getting the season where all the kids' baseball and soccer leagues are cranking up, so there might be a lot of activity. And if there is, it might behoove me to tell you guys a little bit about Herndon before we get there. And if it's not busy, I might repeat myself. But really nice park. Probably next to New Hope is probably my favorite, just because it has all the things you need. I don't know if it has a bike repair station, which is kind of odd. It might have one, but I've never seen it. If it does, I'm gonna look for it today when we get there. But it has water fountains. Those were not working the last time I was here, but would imagine they would be here soon. And they have both men's, women's, and family bathrooms. On your left. Picnic shelter. A couple of baseball fields. A couple of soccer fields, maybe more than a couple. In my second video, I kind of go around the parking lot and show you all that. But today I'll just show you kind of the main park area where the bathrooms are. We're going to turn in right here. A little bit of a climb here, not much. Just a little steep climb. Alright, so there's not much going on today. Some folks out practicing baseball, it looks like. So the water fountains are almost dead center in front of us, the back of the building where the bathrooms are. And I'm going to go around the right side first. We'll finish up over at the bike stalls. So the men's bathrooms are here on the left. And the women's and the family bathrooms are over here on the other side of the building. I'm going to pull into a bike stall here real quick. Alrighty, I thought I would just give you guys a quick walking tour of this general area around the bathroom. So as you can probably see in front of me are a row of bike stalls. There's stalls here where I'm parked. And then over here we have the family bathroom. We have the women's restroom. And water fountains are right here. And they're actually turned on today. They weren't the other day. Nice. And then on the other side here, we have men's bathroom. And then we have a little picnic shower here. I think I'm going to sit down here for just a minute. Take one last break before I head back home. So I've finished up this first segment on try number 2. Hopefully this will turn out well when I get back into the editing bay and seeing how the footage looked. I'm a little hesitant that it might be too bumpy, because as I was taking the GoPro, my little tripod off of the handlebar, I noticed it was a little loose, so we might end up doing this another time if it's too bumpy. But anyway, we'll hope for the best. Anyway, so we're back. Like I mentioned earlier today, the second and third segments are already done in terms of the editing. I just haven't uploaded them to YouTube yet, and I'll do that when I finalize this first segment. And so hopefully you guys will enjoy all 3 and find it beneficial. And again, and feel free to comment on any of the videos if you
need more info, or if there's other trails in this area that you would like to see me bike, I'm more than happy to try it. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for today and head on home.